name is Tavi Jinariue. Today we are at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, California. It's a very special place for me because of the impact that President Reagan had not only on the world but really consequentially on my life as well. I was born in the country of Romania as the oldest of 7 children. Grew up in the 80s under a communist dictator named Nicolae Ceausescu. I went to public school there. I enjoyed school. I was doing well. But when I turned 13 years old, my father said, "Hey, you have to do something beyond just playing some games and doing your schoolwork. So enough soccer for you." And I started playing the classical guitar and loved it from the very beginning. In 1987, Ronald Reagan had a historic speech. It was a speech in the month of June of 1987 when he said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," referring to the wall that encircled Berlin. And that speech set into motion this domino effect throughout Eastern Europe. And 2 years later, the Berlin Wall fell, and then it was a chain reaction, and the entire Iron Curtain of communism in Eastern Europe began to fall. And so that curtain crumbled in 1989 in Romania. And as a result of that, the country opened up, and there was freedom, and there was freedom of expression. In 1998, I came to the US on a music tour. And during that tour, we traveled about 30 US states. It was an exhausting, grueling tour, 3 months long. And we would do a folk program in the first half of the concert and then a gospel music program in the second half. And while the team had to change costumes, they asked me to play a classical guitar piece, something to buy them some time to put their new makeup on and their new outfits. And I was playing this little composition that I made up. And it was infantile, but it showed some ability on the guitar as well. Somebody in the audience, unbeknownst to me, recorded that piece. So she contacted all these classical guitarists and sent them recordings. And one day I received a letter from Christopher Parkning in Romania and a package of sheet music and cassettes with his recordings and a letter encouraging me to work really hard and to do my best. And so we started to correspond. I would record myself and I would send him a video recording, and then he would write a letter. And that was before email. I told him I would really like to study the classical guitar, but it's very unlikely that this could transpire in Romania right now. There was no tradition of guitar at that time. And somehow he MacGyvered a deal with John MacArthur and the school where John MacArthur was the president, the Masters University. And then when I turned 18, I received a scholarship to study the classical guitar in the US. And I was so blessed and fortunate to study with, I think, the greatest guitarist alive at that time. It's so humbling to be the recipient of such lavish blessings, you know? So we have 4 children, and we put my daughter into Christian school. We enrolled her in a Christian school right as she entered her 6th grade. We thought that it would be worth the expense of private education because those years are so formative. The first year my daughter was in Christian school was when I got acquainted with the Herzog Foundation. So a few years back, about 3 years ago, I received a gig request through one of the agencies that I work with. I'm a classical guitarist, and this gig came for the Reagan Library. I play here often. And I showed up to my gig. I was setting up, and I see this gentleman sitting at a table reading his Bible. And sort of like the Ethiopian eunuch, I run to him and say, "Do you understand what you're reading?" It turns out that he was John. At that point, he was the chairman of the board of directors. And I found out that we have so much in common, not only in terms of philosophical and general life view, but also spiritually. We had a lot in common. And so we connected right away and started talking. And this immediately became for me more than just a gig. It became something that I was interested in. Something that I wanted to support, to rally behind. After that first event, I went to the principal of my daughter's school and I said, "Have you heard of this organization? I think you should get to know them." And he ended up going through all the modules. Apparently he was the best student, going through all the modules at the fastest pace, and now has become a trainer for Herzog as well. When I first learned about the model of equipping that Herzog has adopted, I was very suspicious because we live in a world where everything is quid pro quo. You have to give something, nothing is free, there's no such a thing as a free lunch. And so I was very suspicious about this. Now, Herzog puts together these incredible training modules for heads of schools, heads of Christian schools. And I know that when you are so busy with the day-to-day operations of the school and student behavior problems and staffing issues and board issues, that is a very lonely place. Not to say that heads of schools are ignorant. They do the best with what they know. But Herzog is able to come in and expand their views of what's possible. And all this is done for free. There is no, you don't have to pay for anything. I think you just have to pay for your flight here. I mean, this level of equipping is unheard of. And the people that actually come and do these trainings, these are not recent college grads. These are people that have been seasoned in the business world. The vice president of Chick-fil-A and people that are really at the top of the food chain when it comes to their specific field of study. And to get that kind of mentoring in such a wonderful setting, it's priceless. And I think those who go through these modules end up having their minds expanded, their faith expanded to what God can do. And they start thinking strategically from the here and now, from today to what is the impact of this school over the next 40 years, 50 years. Start thinking long term, start thinking bigger. And the fact that the Herzog Foundation is offering this with such generosity, I just cannot imagine why people would not rush to this. And I know they do. And I love to see these training modules, and they're packed, and to see the excitement and the element of surprise on people's faces after the first couple of hours. Wow, this is actually given to us. This is amazing. It's wonderful.